Yeah.
Good.
Can you hear me? All right, we're up. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 26 to 28. I'm not sure of Drawing Blood.
I 28 today.
You think it's 28?
I just called it 28 today.
Oh, we're 28. Then we're
went
28.
around.
We're just rolled over 19. We're not even
We'll
talking
just
about it
skip to
anymore.
like 200s.
Yeah.
And we'll call it like
No one
season
pays
two.
no one pays attention anyway. So this is Drawing Blood. It's an inside look at our hand-drawn top-down adventure video game, all traditionally animated, and it's in the spirit of those late 90s, early 2000 Cartoon Network shows, and some even call it a little bit of Zelda. So, let's see. Thanks for joining us yesterday too for Not Blood, Twitch, your inside look at Bob's After Effects skills. But Friday we're kind of dedicating to just the video game. So let's recap what we did last week. And thanks for joining us, anyone new. So we're working on this kind of mini boss / harder kind of villain here. And I'll just play through some of these things. We did some attacks last week, which are the two bottom attacks right down there. We did some of them getting hit. And this week I think we're going to start working on his little minions that he kind of spawns out here. And you can see in this one, kind of, he disappears and he'll leave behind a trace of like these easier characters if you need to get health or anything if you get hit too much.
Alex.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Alex Fritz? Alex Fritz, how you doing? And Daniel, yes,
Right.
He's back 2 days in a row. I can't believe you like our nasally drones that much. So yeah, this guy kind of, when he does his third and final attack, he shoots off, so then you're kind of left with what will be a few of these characters right here. So I just started this this morning too. So we got a lot done already. I'll showcase all those. Also, we finished this one last week, not on the Twitch. He gets hit and then kind of falls over. And that's sort of going to be his third and final form, or second and final form. So we're going to need to do like attacks with that guy, him getting hit, and eventually a death sequence.
Alright, we got Lawrence here.
Oh, Lauren's here. Oh, hey, all right. My girlfriend isn't home, so I have nothing better to do. The main purpose of our office isn't for us to look professional. It is so we don't get bothered by our family, because I don't know, you guys probably work at home, some of you, and if you have a roommate or a significant other, they don't really treat it as if you have work hours. They kind of walk in and ask you to do certain things. They'll be taking out the trash when I should be animating. So we decided rent was a cheaper option, actually. Okay, so we got an idle sequence here. Go into this one. Just a simple ease in, ease out. You saw, if those of you who joined us before know, I kind of do everything in 1 second intervals. So it's an ease in, ease out, up and down, up and down. For that, I just did a walk this morning, or a run, depending on how fast we want to go. Just gonna run. So we're gonna have to do a lot of directions for this guy. If he stops urgently.
Hot dog punch game is here.
Oh yeah, you just thanks, Hot Dog Punch Game. If this guy stops abruptly, he goes back, and you'll notice every time we always want to get back to the neutral position. So this drawing right here, if I copy and paste it into this one, you'll see it goes right on top. So every kind of thing centers around the fact that he'll always kind of return to idle. I did, so that's a stop. And I'll put this together to show you what it looks like all strung together at the end of the Twitch stream here. I did an attack. That's a very Zelda-ish character. You remember, those of you who played Link to the Past, there, once you enter the like dark world or whatever, there's these things that spin. They kind of look like plants. So it's a little bit of an homage there.
Alex asked what inspired you to be an animator.
Let's see. When I was always into art. I was really into Dungeons and Dragons, and I was actually trying. I was doing like comic books and stuff, but I was such a literal kid that I was not taking comic books at their worth, where I would just do every kind of frame. Like, so if I would like trace Spider-Man, so if Spider-Man in one panel was like grabbing something, I would do like the keyframes of it, not like, I wouldn't switch, I wouldn't practically do panels. So I was always sort of doing stuff like that, and I just wanted to be an illustrator or comic book artist for a while. And then 16, my friend Evan and I went to Blockbuster. That ages us a bit, but we rented Ninja Scroll, which is this super violent anime, and we watched it, and it kind of, I always figured cartoons were just for kids, and then I watched that and I was like, oh my gosh, you could kind of make anything you want. Like, it just dawned on me, and it kind of opened up my thought process into researching it a little bit and doing that. And then guy I went to high school with a year ahead of me went to the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. He was an animation major, and I really kind of dived in from there. Like, he kind of inspired me to do that. So that's a long-winded way of saying Ninja Scroll. Which is funny, I'm not even a giant anime fan, but it just thematically, I thought it was like a cool thing to kind of discover that, I'd watch Looney Tunes and all those other cartoons, and then I was just like, oh my man, these are for not just for kids. So we did this attack. Now you'll see in here, I kind of embedded the attack here, and I also, for Cody's sake, the programmer here, I kind of have a hit radius thing, so he'll know, where to frame it sort of out. So if Becky's standing around here in the negative space, she'll still get hit. And we can extend this as long or as short as we want. So we'll probably have to separate those sprites. And I was feeling a little ambitious, so I wanted to do like another attack where kind of like this attack where he does the axe chop. So, except they don't have arms, so they're just going to kind of headbutt. So we're going to start with that one right here, and then it's going to have to return to neutral. I missed another call, but it's from Jersey, and it's usually a telemarketer. Blockbuster Ninja Scroll was my jam. Yeah, no, it was so funny. And if you remember, Blockbuster didn't have, like, if they didn't have the box, they just had a Blockbuster thing, like a logo. They didn't. Yeah. We didn't see the back of it, so they were just like, oh, Ninja Scroll sounds cool. So we just got it, and we watched it, and within the first couple minutes, there's heads being chopped off, and like snakes attacking people and stuff. I was like, oh, this is cool. And plus, I mean, I'd never really seen a cartoon like that where it was so kind of realistic.
Chihuahuas wanted to know about the convention. I think we ended up we haven't seen anything since the Too Many Games, probably.
Oh, Too Many Games? The convention went great. We actually took home an honorable mention, which is, I guess it would constitute third place out of 49, 50 games. So it was a real honor for us. Especially, I feel like our game is the least complete. Like, there's a lot of games that were close to being finished or well past the halfway mark, and we just sort of have one level that's not really a level and stuff. But it was nice that the people there saw the potential in it. So we took home an award. We got to meet a lot of cool people. A lot of people got to play it, and a lot of animation fans there. So it was a really good time. If we're invited back next year, we're going. Let's put it that way. Any convention. I like any of these.
Oh, and we got to meet Angry Video Game there.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and Dong were feeling no pain. But I got a picture of Dong in AVGN, which is funny because he was being bombarded by people, and our friend Dong and I were kind of buzzed. And we've done work for AVGN before, so I kind of wanted to weave that into the conversation, but you could tell he didn't really hear me, or maybe he did and just didn't care.
Yeah, it was loud. No, it was the worst karaoke
Yeah.
of all time.
Well, that's saying a lot. So we got to meet him anyway, and he was really cool about everything, but you could kind of tell, and Dong and I were in no position to talk coherently either. So he was probably just thought we were just a drug fan. Which we are technically too, so I'm just in between in this sort of like kind of a headbutt here. I would totally go back again though. Plus it's closer than a lot of the other conventions.
Easier drive. Well,
that was hard.
Staten Island was not too kind that day.
Yeah, that was the bathroom break that took that almost broke me. Congrats on the. Oh yeah, thank you. We got the. You want to get the award, Bob? Don't. We almost left this in the hotel too.
In the hotel.
Yeah, it's a nice award. All our other awards are made of wood and plastic, but this one someone spent some time on. So we got that. Polish that baby up. I could show you all the other awards in the other hand. No, we got one in 2013. Sorry. So, no, it was fun. I would totally go back. But right now our sights are sort of set on getting something ready for MagFest, which is early January. And we want, we don't really want to show the same first level again, or if we do, have the option of playing another level. So Bob has been burning a lot of midnight oil getting more levels done, background stuff. We have other characters that haven't been programmed yet, and hopefully you get to play with this guy come January. Alright, so let me get this kind of a plankton kind of looking guy right now. Yeah, awards. Yeah, we don't get too many of those. We haven't even got a good phone call in a while. I would just take a decent phone call where the job doesn't fall through. Kind of center that a little better. Alright. So I always zoom into 400%. And I use a real thick brush. I find it gives a little more control of just the line work, and I tend to press hard. Draw hard. I'm very heavy-handed with this kind of stuff. I think it's it's probably from using Flash, because I worked on a lot of Flash shows that were all heavily hand-drawn and stuff, but a lot of the line weights were so thin that I'd find myself pressing harder trying to get a thicker line, just probably psychosomatically, not so much on purpose, because my hand would always ache at the end of the day. So let's see, we're going to do extreme here. And you can see I kind of have a wide berth here, so if Becky's here or here, she'll be missed, but in all likelihood, like if she's anything in that area, she can get hit. And I do that for a couple of reasons, so we don't have to do every angle of this guy attacking, so we could probably get away with this character kind of a front, a back view, and a side view, so it'd be kind of 3 times the work instead of 5 times the work. So let's see, that all kind of spread out there. So flatten out kind of like that. Yeah, the award was cool. Like I mentioned, we don't get a lot of them, so it's just nice being recognized. We don't get. We're an animation studio by trade. We don't get a lot of animation awards. It took us switching gears to switch to video games for someone to take note. All right. So we've got an extreme here. His legs are going to go out. Might actually separate the legs because I want to do some kind of stagger. So I'm going to just separate the legs on another layer. I'll show you why in a second. The end, it doesn't. The last frame, it doesn't matter. But so what I'll do, put that there, and just sort of focus on the torso here. Oh, okay. So let's just kind of in between this torso. I wonder. You know what? I'm gonna do that stagger I did with the other one, where it's like an up and down, rather than just.
Cody almost forgot about the screen.
Oh, just like you almost forgot about the award we were talking about.
And almost forgot the programs.
Did you forget to put these characters in? We were just talking about our award, Cody.
Not plural, just our only.
Just our only award. We wouldn't even have a Sophie's
Actually, Cody's
Choice.
got the other one.
Oh yeah, we
did
did
get
win
the Shiny
something.
Award, the best-
We won something.
The best art award, not the programming award.
Well, that
But somehow Cody walked away,
Cody walked away with
the
that.
best art award.
curtailed his way all the way back to Florida. So what I'm doing is a giant ease out here for this torso. And I'm gonna do another ease out with it where it's like this is flattening out. I'm gonna do one where like he would bounce kind of the other direction. So it'd be a little different, but I'll show you why. I always hit shift too when I need a straight edge. Let's see here. And all this will eventually fit onto a sprite sheet. And I don't know if Cody, if you're able to screen grab something of a sprite sheet, but could you show that? I would like to show the audience like what goes into just one character. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this frame for up here. Take this extreme. And how this one flattens out more for like an overshoot settle, this one will flatten out less and go up. So it'll kind of be thinner here. The arc will be bigger that way. Kind of like that. And that's why I like these kind of. I like this art style a lot because it's a real kind of. It just reduces everything down to a very basic shape. And when you have to animate as much as we do, you know, not spending a lot of time on one drawing is a big factor for us. I know video game sprites can be very complicated, but we're not looking to really do those very complicated characters, especially when we want a fluid kind of animated game.
Right.
Portal Tamers is back. Thanks for joining us 2 days in a row.
This one is actual game related. So.
This one has to do with just blood. And this is just Flash, no After Effects. No fancy effects at all in Flash. It's just kind of line and paint bucket. And if you guys don't know who Portal Tamers is on this. You should check out her game, Portal Tamers. She's doing it completely by herself. Programming, art, 3D modeling, the works. Um, which is anyone who dives into these making indie games will know the sheer amount of work that it takes is it's staggering.
Yeah, this is.
Okay, so
onion
no
skinning.
master. So this is called Onion.
Yep, this is onion skinning, and this is it's a program not a lot of people use anymore. In fact, we might be
The only.
the last survivors. It's called Flash MX, but it's pretty much the grandfather of Adobe Animate, which is a vector-based program. It can be used for puppeting animation, which is kind of taking these embedded pieces of artwork and moving them around programmatically, or it can be used for traditional animation purposes. We're doing it as the latter here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just color these two. Show you some tricks here. Now remember, I'd separate the legs, which are down here, so I'm going to have to worry about those later. For right now,
Pure Binder's making a game by himself.
who's doing that?
Pure Binder.
Pure Binder. Oh, what kind of game is it? Do you have any artwork? Do you have anything you could show? We encourage everyone to show their stuff here. We're not, this is not exclusive just to our work. So what I did there, hold on, I kind of did that without telling everyone. So you can see here, I got both on different layers here, the up and the down. I spread it out on twos, and then what I do is just shift the down one or the up one over one, so now they're kind of lining up. Then I just drag it down, so they're all on it, and which it's called a I call it a stagger. So now you kind of get this feel that it's this real kind of heavy thing, because it would technically shake a lot. So then what I do, I got the legs here, and we could kind of do the legs independently. So they pop out. They're going to stagger too, but on a different rate. They'll do it independently. So they're going to want to flatten out too. I'm not even going to rough this out.
I'm starting my own game by myself too. My 10-year-old son is helping me.
Mostly playtesting. I'm hoping my sons eventually take an interest in working for free. They both have an interest in drawing and stuff, so hopefully. Though, I don't know, maybe a trade school. It's an easier way to make a living. But that's great. Is anyone going to show their? Let's see some of these games. And Portal Tamers, are you going to show your stuff?
I put it up.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know Pure Binder's stuff.
Oh yeah, send over your stuff. I love being distracted here. Okay. So this is all on ones right now. So you can see. So the kind of tentacles or legs or whatever you call it, those like they flutter out and like kind of land and then settle. And that's why if I did the stagger the other way, they would kind of like they would stagger the wrong way, because it's considered a secondary action. So I'm shooting it on twos first, then I'll go in and do the in-betweens, and then I'll do the this other way to stagger, which is just kind of shuffling the keyframes like you would a deck of cards.
By the way, Jiggle Live will.
Oh, I'll show you some of the other animation. We got a lot of this guy already. And he's just a little kind of side character that I kind of look at him like the equivalent of like a Goomba in Mario. Sort of like these are kind of the easier characters that you can kind of defeat pretty quick. They're probably just one or two hits here, and it's also like what happens with this mini boss is when he like kind of leaves. We do want the option that you could potentially regain some life here, you know. So he won't spit out hearts or whatever regenerates life, but he'll give a character that gives the potential to send you some help there. So I don't want any of those cheap kills really in this game. I want it to feel like a fair fight. Yeah, so you can really cruise through these simpler characters too. Those who joined last week, the big football character, he took a lot more real estate on the work area.
It's a hot dog.
Okay, so this is the other game. Oh, that's cool. It has a Cuphead vibe, that rubber hose style. I love that. That's kind of coming back in vogue. My favorite animation studio of all time was probably Fleischer Studios, who did all the Popeyes and Betty Boops, and they had an understanding of the craft of animation that few people ever had. Okay, so this is the other stagger. So I'm gonna add a layer on top. So this is the extreme, this is the settle. So what I do is just grab the frame next to it and literally just make them opposite like that. So now it's boom. So they got this stagger like that. And then because I don't like settling on ones, we can extend the last 2 or 3 frames, so it's...
Wow, we got Casey Snipes this year.
Oh, this is a regular reunion from Too Many Games. Okay, so we got that going on now. It's in between these few frames. And I had to do an antic to get up to... I mean, I had to get to this antic from the idle frame, so I'll show you how I do that too. When you do a symmetrical character like this, you can technically only do half the drawing. Then you could copy, paste, transform, flip, and then you have that going for you, and that works perfect for a rough. Let's see, I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Is that Bud Light sponsored? God, please, Bud Light, sponsor me. That would be... Frankly, other than making the game, that would be my dream. Is a light beer to sponsor our studio. A light domestic beer. I don't like that fancy kind of IPA stuff. Plus it's so hot in here, and Bud Light's pretty much water. I consider it just hydrating. What is this? I animated the last month. I'm still pretty proud of it. I'm gonna wait until Bob comes back to click on it, because when I click on certain things on this side, I get in a little bit of trouble. Alright. Oh, I'm excited to see it. Oh, yeah, send it, once you get the fan art, send it our way, tweet it at us, and we just retweet, or if you put it on Instagram. We'll try to repost it. All that good stuff. Above there's a link if you want to click on it. I want to check it out.
Is that Chihuahuas?
Yes. Oh wow.
Oh,
Oh. Wow, that's fantastic. Is that stop motion or 3D? Okay, we need one more in between from here to there. Yeah, it looks real stop motion. I like how I like the new kind of world order of 3D where they can hold it on frames. So the eye's gonna get real big here. Kind of some forced perspective here. We won't see the legs at this point. So I have some drag on the eye, and if we kind of shoot it on twos, it'll feel like it. Now you want to be able to avoid these hits, obviously, but you also don't want it to be so predictable. So we're gonna have to really get to the end it quick. And then it's just a matter of play testing the game too. If any of these things don't feel right, we're gonna have to kind of go back to the drawing board. Like I know we played with the pencil throwing a lot.
The most difficult thing you've animated? Flux Caliber?
Personally, it's like on a personal project, it's probably Flex Caliber in terms of like we were doing a lot of like animated backgrounds and stuff, and that's a short we did. It's not for the faint of heart. People could get offended pretty easy with it. It does a lot of kind of crude humor, and there's a lot of cursing and nudity in it. So, I mean, if you're over 18, check it out. I'm trying to think what else was a tough one that we did. I'm trying to think of like a freelance project that was the hardest. Can you think of any, with the exception of what you're working?
Maybe working on some of the hardest. I think we just got the hardest.
We got some freelance that it sounded easy on paper. And it would have been easier to animate on paper too. I feel like that's not looking too easy. I'm trying to think of a freelance project that, I had a hard time with like really complicated. We worked on a show called Game of Zones on Bleacher Report. It's like the super kind of gradient oriented, real, like it looks like you should see the face detail in some of these characters. It's like insane. And I have a hard time with that when it's so many layers and there's not a lot of room for there's not a lot of room to settle and all that stuff. So that kind of like just from a program standpoint, I have a hard time with. And we eventually get it down, but
which I didn't care. I feel like I'm more technical, so that it's more I don't have the drawing chops as much as.
You're definitely more oriented with program stuff, but I have a hard time when it's not like typical puppeting, and there's a lot of masks in it and stuff. So that was like on a theoretical level, that was a tough one for me. But I'm trying to think of the drawn one. And I've worked on hard projects like Super Jail and stuff. I was one of the lead animators on season 1. And, that was labor hard in terms of we had to do a lot in one day. And, certain we'd had to pretty much be responsible for 11 seconds of animation a day, I believe. Or kind of broke down that way.
I would not be making that.
I rarely hit my quota. I was always working late. So that one was tough. It was more rewarding to me though, because I really liked the style of it. I really thought it was a great show. Plus, we had such a cool team, like really talented people working on it. So it's a little down antic, then I'm going to do a smear frame.
What got you guys into becoming animators? What did you experience as a kid?
Oh, that's funny. We just mentioned this. I'm gonna retell it again, an abridged version. I saw Ninja Scroll when I was 16, and before that I was into comic book art and all that stuff, so I was kind of focusing on that. But when I saw Ninja Scroll and I guess anime in general, it sort of opened my eyes that it wasn't just a kid's medium. So it kind of interested me, especially, you know how teenagers are too. They think they're older than they are. So 16-year-old Chris seeing Ninja Scroll for the first time was like, oh, this is the path I want to take. Bob, what about you?
I guess I just always liked cartoons. I like movies a lot more
I think you like visual storytelling
I think
more than anything.
More than, and I just figured I like drawing, so I was like, I'll get into this.
It's funny, it seemed more when we were coming into the industry, there wasn't cell phones that had cameras and stuff in it yet. So to tell a full story it was honestly easier to animate it, because you could take, it would take all year, but you could do 3 minutes of something and you could do it on your own. Then fast forward 20 years later and everyone has a camera that's way better than anything we could have even rented at SVA at the time. So you could kind of tell your stories that way. I and Bob went to the beach yesterday, filmed that little scene that we put on yesterday's Twitch. Imagine trying to do that when we were about to graduate. I don't even know how you would forget the program, how hard it would be.
I would have needed I would have had to take the footage from the camera, transfer it to Final Cut.
God, that just like what you just told me gave me anxiety. All right, so we got.
So, Pureminder was asking about concepts. Like, we don't really take concepts, I guess. We're more of a freelancers.
Yeah, I admit that the name studios kind of throw people off, but mostly we take people who have a budget and they have a concept and they want us to execute it within a certain budget. We have our own pitches that we work on. Like, for example, Blood's all free. We're doing that for free, in hopes that we eventually sell it. God, it'd be such a shame if we didn't. I just had to unstagger that for a second. I want to stagger it opposite here. Okay. So I'm going to just switch these a little bit. There, that's right. Yeah, so we don't really take concepts in terms of that unless there's a budget behind it. And it's just, we have so many irons in the fire of us making free stuff on our own stuff and trying to pitch it. And pitching is just, it's a grueling, grinding, easy to get upset process too.
Oh no, I mean the concept art for my game, just so you guys can see it. What? Did I miss something here?
Okay. No, that's what he meant. He meant.
Oh.
He wants us to see the concept art.
Oh, of this? We kind of just wing it, honestly.
Oh no, for his. Like.
Oh, okay.
His.
I should listen. Does he have the game?
He couldn't. Well, like the concept art, he could send it to.
Oh yeah, if you want to send it our way or put it on here. Everyone can take a look. Yeah.
Info.
No, I love taking a look at other people's art. I always get inspired by that.
Portal Tamers, but like, how do you even go from making a career out of it? I've wanted to do art stuff forever and gave up at a young age because it seemed so impossible.
At first, it's a monumental kind of task trying to get your foot in the door. I recommend internships at kind of mid to big studios. They'll teach you kind of the process of everything. And it's not like you hear intern and some people think like, oh, they're going to get coffee and make copies, or, well, make copies is an old thing, but that's what I had to do at 4Kids. But, like, they think of it as kind of like a go for work. I've found most internships with animation studios, they throw you right into the fire and into the gravel pit with everyone. So I remember I was in charge of some interns at Augenblick Studios, where we did the aforementioned Super Jail and Wonder Shows, and I would just treat them as my in-betweeners or cleanup artists or anything they could. So they were learning right alongside with us. And that was a great way to kind of showcase who we were going to hire next if there was an intern that stood out. So an internship could be a great pathway to getting a career into it. I think we're very fortunate, Bob and I, that when we graduated, I graduated with maybe 25 animators. And in New York at the time, there was Nickelodeon, there was MTV, there was a few then, like, you worked at Jumbo Pictures, right, and all that stuff, or Curious Pictures.
None of them are left.
Yeah, none of the big studios, like these mega, like, giant studios, you know, floors in Times Square. There was a lot of opportunity for us. Now you kind of fast forward to where I was helping a thesis student this year, and she graduated with, I think there's 87 animators, and the year before that it was 80. So all these really talented kids are getting into an industry that doesn't have as much opportunity too. So it's a little different now. But with those kind of things in mind, there's also the advantage of the internet now, where you could work from home, you could build your own audience, you can have a YouTube page and it can get somewhere, you can get revenue that way. So it's a lot, like, gone are the days of like, I'm gonna work at Disney for 45 years. Now it's sort of like, I'm gonna do a bunch of freelance on the side, and I'm gonna build up my portfolio, and then I'm gonna kind of carve out my own path. So now we have to get that guy into the idle pose again. So we're gonna grab the first frame of that. So this is the attack, boom. He can stay like there, so he can be vulnerable if he misses you. Paste that in place, and we're gonna have to get him to that. Alright, so let's think how we can get him there. Because the normal way, if we just in-betweened it like that, that wouldn't be too fun. So I'm thinking he can kind of antic down and kind of jump up and land. Oh man, someone's going nuts outside.
That didn't sound too good.
No. We'll jump up. We could give him 1 tenant.
People were asking the music before, that's all our own.
Yeah, Bob is in charge of all the music and stuff.
Which we're hoping to do our own music for Blood 2, probably.
Yeah, I think just cost analysis too. It'll be just practical for Bob to do all the stuff. He did a lot of music for all our. Well, Flexcalibur had that was a musical kind of thing. So our buddy Tom Sicca and all his bandmates and all these people had to work on it. But if you check out some of our other work, you'll see a lot of Bob's music peppered through there. All of Voltron was done by Bob. Bob wears a lot of hats at the studio.
But never a New England Patriots hat.
Never a Patriots hat. So he's gonna jump up. We're gonna have him float in the air a bit. Yeah, I'm loving these simple characters because I could really get a lot done in a day. Okay, so he's gonna float up. We can do a little bit higher. You had to kind of, I always try to be mindful of the volume so you can see the body shape. And he's so amorphous, this guy, that you could really get away with a lot of squatching and stretching. Okay, so let's hold that. I notice I do a lot of like characters where it's just they're just a big face. I feel like. I mean, technically Becky, that's all she is too. Like if you take away her little triangle robe that she's walking around in, she's like 80% of her body is just her face. Just because you get so much expression out of just the eyes and the mouth alone, you can really get a lot out of. So let's clean that up. So wait to get from that.
I was having such a hard time trying to explain and do After Effects at the same time yesterday. It's not an easy thing to
What's that?
say what's coming out of your head as you're doing it, and
Yeah, no.
and plus half those plugins, I feel like you could spend 2 weeks learning the plugin, let alone. just
Oh no,
flying
I
through
wouldn't.
it.
I wouldn't want to do that. So let's see. So we'll push off with that leg. This leg can keep going down like that. Stretch this out a bit. There we go. I kind of dig that timing. Yeah, that should work. Let's see here. All right. So we're gonna clean this up. A lot of animators, they rough out everything first. I kind of like just doing the rough, then cleaning up, doing the rough, then cleaning up. I just have sort of that rhythm because I'm always kind of second guessing it, so I don't want to rough out everything and then get to it. Unless it's something like a camera move, then you have to just bite the bullet and rough it out. So this will be an ease in because it's an antic, and if you're kind of squashing down to jump off or pushing up or doing anything, like try to examine, like think about when you're doing a push-up or something, you kind of start fast and slow down because you don't want to, smash your face into the ground. So that's the exact same priorities that I'm establishing here. So we'll like this will be the halfway point right here, the next frame, which we're shooting on 2s, and then we'll ease out to it. And that way it's I remember my old thesis advisor was explaining, he kind of explained every ease and ease out to me as if you threw a ball into the air. It speeds out of your hand, then there's a point where it's not moving at all at the apex of the arc, and then it slowly builds up steam until right before it hits the ground. And you can kind of distill animation to that if you're just speaking about the ease in, ease outs. And there's only 13 principles of animation.
So it's something you could learn probably in a day, at least, like theoretically, what you need to know about animation. Then it's executing it, which is the tough part. Only 30%. That's it. Then you're a master. That's it. You just learn it in a day. You're done. But you know that you work in 3D, but that's the same. You know, it's just visual storytelling, and they have the same. You know, all the old 3D animators started traditionally. You know, the medium was changing a lot. Late 90s, and people at Disney started getting afraid that hand drawn was going to go nowhere. Rightfully so. I think people saw stuff like Toy Story and like, oh, I'm going to be out of a job. Another missed call. And they kind of jumped ship to get to the 3D world. But if anything, there's a 2D resurgence, I find, because there's so much 3D now that I think people clamor to see 2D just as much. Though there's no features anymore, which is, gosh, what's the last traditional feature, like major feature? I can't even think. What is the Princess and the Frog or something?
Yeah, that and the one that's coming out.
Which one?
Like that Klaus one's been.
Oh,
has been
well,
a long time.
that check's been in the mail.
A long time coming.
Yeah, I was gonna say Princess and the Frog, which was gorgeous. There's a lot of charm, hand-drawn stuff, at least to us animators. But I see it, you know, I see it in my kids too, that, and it could be they're only 2 and 4, so they're very young still, but they seem to kind of glom on more to the drawn stuff. But it could also be
They're just
the
too
age.
frightened of.
Coop's too afraid of the Green Goblin to step into the 3D world again. God, that was so funny. I was so excited to see that.
God, I've seen that movie so many times.
I know, I haven't seen the full thing. I'll trade you a Wreck-It Ralph for
God, I've seen
for Into the Spider-Verse. And then I was like, oh, I'll watch it tonight when everyone goes to sleep. And then I get to Netflix and it just recommends something else, and I would watch it. I was just like, oh, inside a Russian prison. I was like, that sounds cool. Like I'm learning nothing about my craft.
I don't care about that kind of stuff. I'm just dumb.
No, that's the thing. I don't even want to pay attention to it. Like I don't. Like inside the world's toughest Russian prison. Like what am I gonna learn from this?
It's just a good reminder not to do.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not. I don't want to do any hard time in Russia. Okay, so we're going with that.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2 was. I remember bringing my girls. It was. They were both disappointed, I think, at the end of it.
Yeah, I didn't. I loved
My
Wreck-It
daughter
Ralph
was
1.
in love with Vanellope Von Sweet, and then when the end of that one, she kind of walked out, and I could see it in her face. She just looked so dejected, and so she was kind of over the whole thing after that.
Something was charming about the first one because they kept it in, like, the universe was the arcade, and then when you open that up a little more, it just, you lose what made it special almost.
I also have a theory. That one reeks of it
Yeah.
got messed around with a lot
No.
by. Like Zootopia had that same feeling where it just got messed around with by.
Yeah, you could tell
someone.
like they're like it ended, and then another problem was there, and then they had to solve it again or something. All right, let's just keep in between in that one. And I'll string this thing together and I'll show you what I mean about how we are always kind of going to switching back from idles.
It's funny. Like, I don't think my daughters care what the medium. I think they just like.
No, they
seem
just
to
like
be into
storytelling.
good storytelling too.
But that's all, I think that's all we crave as storytellers, is just a good story. Like, it harkens back to the day of, like, telling stories around a campfire was interesting. You know, no one was, like, looking at the flames, you know, they were just in the story. Once you're in it, you're in it. It doesn't matter the medium.
My daughters are getting heavily into Airbender now. And they both loved, well, my older daughter loved Toy Story 4. My younger one
had to see that
just
too.
made it. She just made it through the whole movie. That was one of
Yeah.
those standing
You're
and watching in the
you're
aisles. a
watching,
little bit.
just she's about to lose it. They should make a movie theater for new parents.
They did that. I was in one. It was
Oh,
people with a baby.
was it
They
like
had-
like
they had
specifically
babies.
geared towards that?
No, it was just there was a baby. My brother babysat their kid to watch it. It was.
But they should just make like how they make soundproof rooms. You know, like when you're in a sound booth, you could hear what's being said outside, but out the inside out is vice versa.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Penelope in the sequel is like she kind of like contradicted that's why I
Yeah.
felt like they messed with it. Somebody came in and changed the story halfway through. She contradicted herself. Like she wanted to be in the game.
No,
and then
she's
she
like,
didn't
well,
wanna
this
be in
this
the
game was all I knew, and then she didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Like there's a part when they were kind of after the arcade game got destroyed that she was sitting on Ralph's rooftop saying, "This is all I want."
Yeah,
And then the second she was given something different, she's like, screw that. I think, yeah, the ending was unsatisfying to me. Like, I thought it would be like, oh, I get to visit back every night when the game shuts down. And she's like, I'll come back once every 2 months. We'll talk then.
Get over it.
Go away, old man. I also didn't see the whole thing of Wreck-It Ralph. Oh, excuse me. Babylon's burning down here. That's why rent's so cheap here. Seriously, they were emotionally in front of Ralph, human centipede. Oh yeah, that I mean, but the thing that was also distracting for me was that I guess spoiler alert, but the ending where Ralph is comprised of all the mini Ralphs or regular size Ralphs. He's a giant. But I didn't get that either. But all I was thinking about is like the poor render farm that had to do this. The poor people who, then someone stood up in the middle of it and it's like, well, what if he has a different shirt on? And you're like, oh, they had to re-render it. You know that happened. So I'm just gonna do a settle here because he's kind of landing and settles into his final pose here. And I'm going to show you how to string this bad boy together. Let's see if we can make a little animation out of that. Chris, could you talk about the in-between process? How do you know when to add a frame, when to hold a frame, shoot on ones? Yeah, it's really just a gut feeling I get, and it's something that comes with time too. And you take enough experience and enough years under your belt, and you'll start just getting a natural feel for it. It's all about the acting, really. So there's no science to it. It's like an antic has to be 3 frames and hold on twos, or a smear frame should be on ones. There's no real science to it. I mean, there's principles that you can follow, but it's mostly I kind of have a soundtrack in my head almost of like what this monster's making right now. So I kind of follow the timing internally in my head and then gauge on it. Now when it feels a little too choppy, I'll just take the frames and squeeze them together. When we're talking about the arcs and the timing and stuff, I'll shoot the end on 2s, or I'll settle on 2s. And you kind of just get a feel for it on that.
What is this here?
Other concepts. Games.
Oh. Do you see this? I like the painterly feel.
Yeah.
That's nice. Like a Professor X. That's really nice. Is that going to be in-game play, or is that just sort of inspiration? But back to Lauren, and a lot of times you'll get like professionally you'll get scenes that have to hit a certain beat, so you'll like if it's a dialogue driven scene, you're just forced to time it out to whatever the dialogue is too. So then there's those kind of roadblocks you get thrown into and have to hit stuff.
I just like move around the keyframes kind of, and then
Yeah, there's a lot of times I'm messing with this one. Now I want to hit this by the 2-second mark, so I know by the end, like he'll go right back into the settle or the idle. That's Pure Binder. That's really nice artwork. I like it a lot. What program did you use for that? Is that all Photoshop? But you'll get a feel for it as you blossom into your career too, because it just everything becomes second nature. You're not even worrying about there's a point that you don't even care about the in-betweens because it's you already emoted the action, and it's all kind of emotionally driven anyway. So
I'm getting to a point where I don't even care about the keyframes. So
sometimes you don't care about the keyframes. And at the end of it, it's just really storytelling, and not the individual drawing. And you could go on YouTube and watch, like pick out one of your favorite animated scenes from, like, say a Disney movie or something, and just you could actually keyframe it out now, where you can kind of watch how they time stuff out. You'll be surprised how quick something happens, or when something just pops to it. Even in these big theatrical things, there's a lot of like that kind of feel. I always kind of watch something like a very cartoonish character like Aladdin or the genie in Aladdin, and just watch how much they pop and settle and all that stuff. It's a good way to sort of just get kind of the motion of the animation, not so much the individual drawings.
Is there thoughts of a Discord? That's Cody's.
I don't know what.
We use Discord privately, but I don't really know.
I don't know what like
it
a
does
public.
otherwise.
I don't know what a public Discord forum
We're
constitutes of.
very
Is it
out
just?
of touch.
Yeah. No, I mean, if Cody wants to set one up and field any questions, I'm all for it. I just, I'm rarely even on our Discord. But I don't know what constitutes a public one.
Portal Tamers uses hers a lot.
Yeah, that's what Cody was saying.
I mean, Cody and the programmers use it a lot. The two artists here just sit there and
No.
open it up once in a while and like, oh god, there's a lot of stuff to look at.
Yeah, I never, but I'm out of the 5 creators of this, I'm the least technical. Like with technology, I'm the worst at it. Explains why I'm using a 20-year-old program. Alright. So you can see here, Lauren, how I kind of I'm not going to shoot that part on ones because this is kind of, we're slowing it down, and you can see where I want to speed it up and all that stuff. So it's kind of just it's a lot of second guessing yourself almost. That's going to be an in-between. Yeah, I mean, I always want to interact with our supporters, and it doesn't just have to be on Twitch. So, I mean, I would totally be down to starting one. And how do you
is anyone allowed on it? Like, how do you
I think
even?
so. You'd make a public one. Like,
You
we
make a
have our own
public one, and then
private
people
Yeah.
sign up, and they just. And then, do you get alarmed when someone talks on it, or do you have to be on it all day? I don't.
Yeah, no, like it's probably like how you get alarmed when, like, you know, go to your ranger right on it.
I never get alarmed on.
No one's really been using it.
No, no one's been talking to old Chrissy boy here. Alright, so we're gonna stretch out the body a lot here, just kind of make a teardrop. Alright. It's even a little swell. Alright.
It's pretty much aim for your phone.
Oh, okay.
Boy, that dates us.
Yeah. That really does.
So, that's not a thing.
No.
That's the only way I would interact with everybody at work.
We never, at Ogden, look, we never had, like, any of those digital things. I'm tools, it's okay. I'm curious, who the oldest person is in this group.
Well, according to us, it's Andrew, but
I accused Andrew of being older than me. I completely self-projected. I was like, well, it's also because he has his life together the most. I equate that with wisdom and age, and he has like this really well-behaved older daughter. He has his career in order, and I'm just like, oh man, this guy has it. Yeah, I'm gonna, whatever he's doing, I want to be where he is at his age. He's like,
Grandpa Andrew here is gonna.
3 years older than the guy. Like, oh shit.
Andrew's here.
No, just my kids are well-behaved. My career's sporadic at best. Living day to day. All right. Because I'm 38. I always say I'm 40 because I feel it, but which is it's young in the scope of life. But for animators, I don't know a lot of
There's not many that make it.
that many that make it this far. They all become if you make it, sometimes they become show creators, sometimes they're
You can go right back to being.
or you could just go, but like the people in the trenches are typically pretty young. What's so funny?
She said, "Just get your impossible."
Yeah. 39. All right, I got one. I'm young again. No, it just I feel old in the industry, and when I go to those events, like
Oh, we go to those events. Yeah,
I feel really
even
old.
Too many games. I couldn't. It was even worse than MagFest. There was a lot of like really young, like teenagers. I feel like were there.
Or like even when I went to the film festival, like the film festivals, I feel super old on those. When I went to the thesis, well, I guess they were all students, so that doesn't count, but I felt pretty out of place. Is pretty old. For animation, I mean, we hopefully we all live another 39 years at least, but I'm just in the scope of animation and doing in-betweens and all that stuff. But I'm sure, you know, Was 38 a good age to start making indie games? Probably not. Though I could say this, I was always interested in video games, and I never thought I'd be in a position that we're actually making one, even though we talked about it a lot. So you can see the cycles now too. Alright. So I can hold that. Gonna get rid of everything that's not. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string together these animations to show you what I was talking about. So if I'm 30, I should even bother to start learning. Yeah, I mean, if you have a passion for anything, I mean, age shouldn't. I mean, should I try out for the NFL now? No. Like, there's certain career paths that we can sign off on, but if you're interested in animation and want to learn about it, it's not a thing where it wears on you physically. Animation.
Although,
The hours get long.
to.
The hours get long. I will say that. You know, it's not, if you're looking for a 9 to 5, there's not a lot of that going on. But to learn something, it would just be a shame if your age dictated something that you wanted to learn.
Although in LA they seem to be doing pretty good with the 9 to 5s.
Well,
Not the animators, I guess. The
No,
producers.
no. No, yeah, that is a whole different subculture. All right, what I want to do quick, I'm gonna just grab this. I'm gonna do like one of these in-between sprites, just so we have a little bit of smoothness. Modify and duplicate. I'm gonna just call this idle to walk. And to really get into the spirit of this being a traditional game, like, it shouldn't pop to this, especially if we're gonna go right to a walk. So I'm gonna do a few keyframes here just to get to that, and this will be an ease in. But no, start if you have a passion for something. Don't let these are just all dad jokes I'm saying about feeling old. If you care about animation, learn all you can about it. I will say this though, it's a tough career, and there's parts that get you down pretty quick. I mean, I'm trying to work on my emotional fortitude, and I'm still working on it, because there's times you'll get an email and you'll get something and you think everything's fine, and then in the blink of an eye it's not. So there's those things where it's hard to remain professional sometimes. So there's the moments like that. Yet it's weird. You have to have kind of both sets, like two parts of your brain have to be working at the same time, and it has to be the kind of business element of it, where you have to realize this is a business, and then you're kind of balancing, well, why can't this be the best art it can be? A lot of times the business part wins out. In fact, most times it's money's exchanged, it is. No,
It's the same thing with game development.
No, I'm sure there. Well, yeah, with game development, I mean, there's it's an investment to try to get some money back, at least a return on investment. I can, unless you're doing those game jams things where you have 24 hours to make a game, that's just passion talking. And I guess the equivalent for that in animation is making a short film. Sometimes there's no return on investment other than it'll get you in front of the right people. Oh, I forgot about that leg. But a game, it takes so long that there has to be investment, kind of. That you have to be mindful about that, I feel like. That's why I think they're so reluctant to take pitches from us animators, is because that has to be sort of looked at as an investment too, where if we're going to invest, I mean, millions of dollars go into making an animated show. and millions of dollars in pre-production before one frame of it's shown to an audience. So they have that in mind, not so much, well, is this a good idea? And it's never, well, this will look cool animated. It's never that. That doesn't cross their mind. If they could get rid of us, they would. Like, they would totally get rid of animators if they could somehow tell an animated story without us. Alright, so this is just a quick little thing. So this could be... So I'm going to keep these frames in here even though when we get rid of them. I feel you never give up though. No, don't. It's, if you care about something, like, you don't have to let your standing in any industry dictate what you like what you are as an artist. Okay, so I'm gonna copy these. I'm gonna bring this into a new file just to show you how I would kind of string these together. Gonna paste this. Now these are gonna look huge, so I'm gonna shrink it down to. I'm gonna keep them like this for now. Yeah, that's right. So this is the size they'll be on the screen.
Spider-Man's here. We said animation looks very tedious.
Oh yeah.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's an understatement. So I'm gonna copy this guy. I'm gonna name it Hatchling All. So I'll give this to Cody to kind of show him what I was thinking about in terms of typing with all that stuff.
Then he'll make sure to never put it in.
Then we'll never get it in the game, and it'll sit here on my computer.
It'll never make it to the server, and it'll only be
You know,
on the
and
desktop.
it's gonna just be on my desktop. Okay, so I got the idle here. Isn't it ironic that they would get rid of people they create? Oh, that's not. Yeah, it is ironic, true, but they would. They don't care about animation, and I guess they. I don't know if they should or not. I don't. It means nothing to them. So.
But they sure pretend to a lot.
Well, that's the part I don't like is when they're disingenuous about it. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is swap. I think this is final, and then it goes, yep, to the wall. So I'm just swapping symbols here to show you how I would animate this stuff. Let's see, where is the wall? Gonna go to frame 1. So now you can see this animation kind of lining up like that. And this is all with embedded symbols. Okay, say he's running, and then we go into a stop.
Casey Snipes was asking. Yeah, we still get the whole Adobe Cloud service,
Yeah, we have to just for After Effects.
and we have to use Animate a lot for.
Yeah, for client work and all that. Okay, so we got that. So we got a walk, stop. Then swap out and do an attack. Got an attack, go back to settle. Swap, and there's an attack too. And then it can loop. Okay, so turn off those guys for now. Place this guy in place. I think I made it 240 frames, I'm not sure. 180. Okay. Go to 180 here. Alright.
What's the benefit of Flash MX over?
Well,
I just learned how to draw on it, so I have a real proclivity to drawing with it. Whereas Adobe Animate, it's a little bit harder. There's a little bit more workaround with Adobe Animate in terms of like getting the line I like. Now, to be honest, it draws pretty well, right, Bob?
I'm not
Adobe
even-
Animate.
I'm
I don't
hating the way it
completely
draws.
dislike it like I did like the CS
Sprites,
series.
or-
But it's more for what we use it for.
Like I've already crashed
Yeah,
on this project I started the other day.
it
I mean,
crashes a
maybe
lot
4 times,
more.
three to 4 times a day.
Yeah, where I'd never really
Yeah.
crash in the Flash MX, so I just like the older program. I think just because it's a reliable program to me. Now that's just to show you how it stopped. And what's nice about this stuff is I could go right here and I could go right into an attack. Like if I take out this frame, say. So that was like a stop, so. And you know, he can still move while that's happening. So let's say can I add that? So I'll do like an example of this for Cody, just so he gets a sense of how we would kind of program it. Put a guide layer in there. Then you can do the attack again. So you see here now, this is something I put together this morning. I started this character, and right now, you know, with just a very limited amount of sprites we're using, we put together each second's worth of animation. So you know, you could and now pretend there's 3 or 4 of these guys doing similar things running around the screen. All of a sudden, you can have a full scene of animation here with just very limited stuff, and that's why I kind of encourage the library system here. I don't remember Flash. No, Flash MX never crashes. My son is watching and he goes, "Mommy, what is that?" And his sister goes, "An octopus broken." Oh God, I'll show him. I'll show him Daddy Octopus over here. There's these characters here. Now I'll show you. Oh, let me save this. I'm just going to save this as example. So this is something we would do to put together the scene. So now we got I'm just going to bring this guy in. Let's try to line this up right. I'm going to bring this guy in. I'm going to shrink him down 25%. I'm going to bring... So I'll show you how this guy would kind of show up, actually. Just going to bring him down here so we can see everything. I'm just going to line this up. This guy does his attack, he disappears. Where is it here? Sorry about that. So now I'm just gonna go right. Line this up the best I can. I would embed this in a symbol all if I was going to do it correctly. This is just to kind of show you an example of how we would do it. There we go. So this guy does his big attack, axe chop,
You see, it all sort of lines up to it. Now we can time this out any way we see fit. But this would be an example. If you didn't get to attack this guy, he would end up leaving. Now you're kind of forced to fight these guys and maybe regain some health, something like that. So we can kind of that. And you can see how much room we have to play with here. I mean, this is going to be actual size of the screen that you see. This is the whole work area, and I can bring in Becky to show you. Yeah, the thing with these kind of animations like this, when everything's registered and keeps to one size, you'll be surprised how much you can build upon these characters. Where's Becky? Where's Becky? Oh, what am I doing here? Character Becky. Where's her role? Becky in place. Do we not have the Becky sprite sheet? Oh yeah, it's just in the old folder.
Oh, we don't have. I moved it into the wrong thing.
No, I mean, we have her somewhere. So you see, I got all these characters and Becky all lined up here. Everyone's seen this before, but. So all this animation now, I mean, we can tell a story that, at this size forever now. So if you were to, you could build an animation this way or a show this way too, where if you're not concerned with line weight, just draw everything the same size and then you'd have this giant library. But this, so I'm gonna give her the idle here. So she is this size, so she's tiny, So that would hit her. So let's say she doesn't get hit. But this is what it would technically look like on the... Does he hit her? He would hit her there too. We'll keep her to the side. We'll take her out of harm's way. But you see this, and then I'd bring in one of Bob's backgrounds, and I'll show you one of those. What's a good background for this, Bob?
I don't know what we've started. What else did we get to? We got a couple new.
Library, bathroom, gym. You did a gym?
That's an old one. We started. Gym we had it. Gym's in the game.
Oh, I was thinking of like a weightlifting gym. Yeah.
Started the locker.
Locker room.
Some other stuff.
Outside. Didn't you do a...
All the field hockey fields and stuff.
What about the roof?
Oh, the roof was where... That's in out, that might be an outside right now.
Oh.
School roof.
School roof. Save. And Bob always keeps the reference here. Now this should register fine. Okay, so say this was a level. Did he do the smoke too?
No, it was just
Okay.
messing around with that.
So it's running a little slow now because of all the texture and stuff. But I pretty much drove home this process. But all of a sudden we have this little story we could tell, and we can send this over to Cody to be like, I'll probably end up animating what I think this guy's attack pattern should be, or something like that. So they have some sort of point of reference or jumping off point to start programming. All right, so let's.
The whole game can take place at the school.
No, we have a giant world map that we're working on. What's Cody saying?
He sends you, maybe on your side, there's the movement sprite sheet. If you want to try to move it.
Where's
Do you
the?
have your email?
Oh, here's the spreadsheet. So how do I copy
Just
this?
download that.
Save as?
Save.
Copy image?
Just save link as.
Save link?
Or sorry, yeah, save image as and stuff. Yeah, go to desktop. Actually, you can probably just click on it right there on the download.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a sprite sheet of Becky. Can we zoom in? So you can see what's going into just one character moving. And I don't think this is all her stuff. It looks like this doesn't have her attacks in it. So a lot of it's going into just what's seemingly this little character. Alright, how much time do we have left here? Let me continue on this. Oh, we have plenty of time. I'd love to see your process of building backgrounds. I don't know how you achieve that style in Flash. Well, that's all Bob.
Very tedious.
Like, I know the demo you started at home, but are there other... No, there are some other places. Do you... Bob, can I show some of the background?
Yeah, we had some.
Yeah, let me show
what
some
else-
other
I forgot
background.
What else I was doing was. I kinda
A lot of it
started-
takes place in the school right now. We have a graveyard.
Oh yeah, there's the church interior. There's the outside.
So this is
Just like
at
elements.
night. You have like a church, graveyard, and what we'll do here is build out the level. So this isn't the whole screen.
But we kind of tile the system.
Yeah, it's a tile system. Church interior. So this is inside a church. Again, very Zelda-esque. Nope. I guess we'll have to change that secret.
These backgrounds are.
Oh,
big.
this a bell tower.
Yeah, we're thinking of a bell tower. Funny.
A bell tower fight. Bell tower. Catacombs. So this could be under the church or under the school. Working on
Yeah,
stuff.
I figured right now we figured that's what that altar would lead to, but I haven't really thought. Yeah, we need a gargoyle bad guy or something.
Yeah. Maybe next week. Let's see what other. That's straight out of a link to the. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Where you push the altar in this.
Yeah.
Hmm. We have house interiors, like inside Becky's house.
That one's gonna
This one's a
bog
beast.
you down. There's a lot of textures in that one. Sprite sheets from Flash. Cody would know. I believe it's Texture Packer.
Yeah, I think you go from that to texture packer to. This is
That's right.
good old dad's room. Yeah, this is bogging us down.
One of the bathroom I really liked how that tile scheme.
I think I didn't hit shift. This is Becky's room.
We have portal tamers. We have there's no organization whatsoever. We're just
No, my
randomly
God,
going.
we're so out of. It's embarrassing. It's like it's very sporadic. We have to really buckle down. We're working on a world map. This kitchen. So it's a very kind of 70s, like the house hasn't been updated in a while.
That's why all
The house is very
lab-
much in the
you're
dad
right,
style.
They're very Dexter's Lab inspired.
Okay, so
The locker room too is finished.
locker room. Oh, I don't know. Like
That's
we're
a good- we jump.
we're
around.
all
We're kind
over.
of building the story out as we build out pieces too. but-
yeah, we're very like we'll start something and be like, oh, this will be a nice part to the story. So we got the girls' locker room and the boys' locker room.
I think I have it mapped out. That's fine.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's it. So this is gonna be a fight where a creature kind of pops in, and yeah, we're thinking of cool ways to kind of play with like we have a character in the boys' room and a character in the girls' room, which is Becky, and you kind of have to tag team to fight the bad guy.
The size we make these, I guess it doesn't really. That's the
This
best
is
thing
true
about
size.
doing it in Flash is we can change the size because it's vector and we never have to worry about losing quality. So we kind of just picked a size for
We got the
everything.
neighborhood, which everyone's. There at the tree
Oh,
fort.
the tree fort. I don't know if everybody's seen that yet.
This is new. This is the new one to the game, where there's a tree fort in the backyard. Got tree fort here. Nice detail on that. What else do we have?
Cody said we've been focused on getting. You've been focused on getting a good demo out because I've yet to see that. So.
My glasses, they almost popped off my head. Woo! Cafeteria, that's all school stuff. What about the field hockey? Where's that?
That was the field. I might be called field hockey.
Oh, I could have read that. Got the field hockey. You know, a good battle could take place here. Got a parking lot. Baseball diamond. So we kind of have the school's in a really good place now. The rest of the world. You guys should make a homage to the girls' locker room versus boys' locker room meme in the game. What is it? Oh, what is Cody sending our
Oh,
way?
I sent it to him. The Steve rolls.
Oh. So yeah, that's where we're staying with the background. So we got enough here to make a real decent demo. All right, so let's we have some time. We're gonna start. I also, if you guys have any other just general animation questions, like how we would approach doing stuff, doesn't have to do with blood or anything in particular to the game. If you just want to see an animation technique that you guys are wondering how we would approach, let me know in the comments section here, and I can tackle some of that for you guys. Let's start with this guy getting hit. So you hit this guy now. He's on the defense. Let me duplicate the symbol. Modify duplicate symbol. I'll call it hatch. I call this one damage. The stream should be sponsored by Bud Light. In late 30s beer, just put me down. No gratitude. I would, if Bud Light is, if anyone out there works for Bud Light, let me pitch that to them.
It didn't work with White
I
Claw,
tried
so
with White Claw.
Gave
And
up.
shame on them. Not even an
Two people
answer.
drinking with
Okay, so we're gonna do.
us. We got a sit soldier out there.
So she karate chops him. So we could do two different ways of hitting. I'll do with the squash one first. So we'll really do an extreme here. Yeah, no sponsorships for us. Trying to make our money the old-fashioned way. By not making money.
By spending 7.5 years in the game.
Hey, Joe Whimsy, you made it. Good to see you. By spending, what did he say?
By spending 7 years working on a game for
Really?
free.
That's the American way. All right, so we want to get to the idol again, so we're gonna keep that frame. Get rid of all these. There we go. Now I know it's Friday here.
Good old boys.
They're going to the racetrack. Having a,
That's tomorrow.
oh,
We do
well,
have the only racetrack left in
yeah.
probably anywhere near New York.
Congratulations.
Wasn't there supposed to be a documentary on this? I never saw it.
Probably. Who's organizing it though?
No, it looked actually very interesting. I think it was like a Netflix one or something.
Oh, really?
Or Magnolia Films. They made it look a lot more epic than it really should
Yeah,
have been, about a bunch
that
of
tracks
rednecks.
about the size of this room.
Exit 73 comes from, that's the last exit that we're located at.
Yeah, it's the last exit on the Long Island Expressway. So we wanted to kind of pay homage to that, where the end of the end of the line here, as east of New York as you can get.
No, you could get a little bit.
I guess you could go to the points, but yeah, in terms of the city. So he's gonna flatten out all the way. I'm an animation student and kind of anxious of my work if it's good enough to get a job. Do you have any advice? Anxious in. I mean, the best way is probably not. It's going to be the way that probably scares you the most. Is it just put it out there and I'm talking to what am I here? Painting Worlds. I would just get your artwork out there and put your feelers out there. It's the best way to get over your fear too, and I mean the art's also there to be seen too. So no matter and everyone's sort of. I know people worry about what people are going to think about their art and stuff, but everyone, I would like to think anyone that matters in the industry has the sense to contextualize stuff, knowing that it's like, if you're a student, we're going to take your work with that in mind, not, we're not going to compare your work to that of Glenn Keane or Miyazaki or anything, so it's there's those kind of, like those barriers to entry that you don't need to really worry about. So I would recommend putting your work out there. People have been putting work on this stream, for example, and there's only been very nice and laudatory things about our whole audience here. So if you want to put it out here and see what people think, we encourage you to do that too. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. Have you seen Blood? What is it? Okay, I missed a bunch of stuff here. Can only go up when you think you're at the bottom. You may not even be at the bottom. Oh, yeah, I can't sponsor you guys, but I've been spreading the word. No, I'm, we're very fortunate with our audience. The audience has been so great. Like, people have
taken a liking to that.
People really seem to kind of resonate with the art style and the concept of blood, and it's something, when we put something out, it's like, are people gonna get tired of us showing this kind of stuff? And there has been not any real loss of interest in it, and each week we do this thing, and it's like, who's gonna tune in this week, watch us babble on, and no, we've been very fortunate in that regard, and it makes us, it's a symbiotic relationship, because if we didn't have an audience kind of encouraging us to keep doing this, we wouldn't be doing the stream, and then we wouldn't be getting work done. So it's, you guys just tuning in and watching and liking and spreading the word really helps us. So this would be if he gets like axe chopped down, so it'll bounce up. And then we'll do one where if he gets hit, like if she chops him up, so it'll kind of start from the up position. No, so we have you guys to thank for, keeping blood in the conversation. Our Twitter fan base of blood has been nothing short of amazing. It's been a real pleasure to show our work to this audience. We're, a year later, we've been working on this probably roughly a year. And all I want to do is work on it. Like, I don't want to work on other projects. I don't want to work on our freelance. I just want to work on this. So we can go like that and then stagger that one. Been trying to get more people coming to watch you guys. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, anything like that, we really love that. I love the graphic shapes with subtle textures. Thank you. Thanks, but the problem is I don't know where to start. What am I talking about? Yourself there. Pick a personal project and nip away at it. It'll drive you to learn. Yeah, I also, I forget who told me to, like, I don't know if it was my old wrestling coach or something, but it was he said something to like it's like why don't you start betting on yourself or something like he said something like that. The guy was so mean, but it's true. It's I think we could all benefit from kind of betting on ourselves a little more, because there's enough doubt out there. You don't need to doubt yourself or your abilities, and so you should always, you know, and you should do something that scares you too. Like you should put yourself out there if it scares you. There's the worst thing that can happen is someone doesn't like your stuff. And I have news for you. You could be great, and someone wouldn't like your stuff either. You know, so it's not exactly something that should hinder you from pursuing anything that you want. And the scariest part of any project I find is you're opening up a new flash file or you're starting from page 1 of a script. The scariest part and the most daunting part is the start. It's the hardest part because it's just this monumental task in front of you, and then you have to start chipping away at it. But do it today. Post something that you're afraid of out there. Just, you know, ask for someone's opinion, or, you know, open up a Word document and start your script. Just start it today, because in a year from today, you're gonna wish you did. And that's really I think the only and best advice I could give is just do something you're afraid of, and, you know, be scared and do it anyway. Else you're just gonna live with not having it done, and it's gonna bother you just as much. And if I've learned a lot from having probably a fair amount of anxiety myself, is you're gonna be anxious about something else tomorrow, so just do this one too. Is it echoing again? I can't tell. Never get less than 12 hours of sleep. Hearing things more clearly. Oh, okay. The audio is low for me. I might be pretty far from the microphone too. It's pretty far. I can move it a little closer. No, but just start something, and, you know, the animation student, start with something small. Like, try to get a 10-second scene done of animation. That and something that you're uncomfortable with too, like a process that you haven't tried yet, and see how you fare. So that'll pop up. I'm not sure where you should start, but for me, I created my own character, then I'll bring those characters to life, first on paper. Another movie reference that you're too young to get. What did I, who had a reference? Was it us?
Wait a fuck, it's the day to see when you won't have a house. I don't know which one that is. Is that from the movie, or which one are you saying?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I'll look up.
What's it
I
from?
don't know what he's talking about.
Is it from a movie? It sounds like it could be.
Oh, he had a
What is it?
oh, Cody's name.
Is that from a movie though?
Yeah, I don't know.
I never heard of that one.
Oh, it's
Good quote though.
Teen
Oh, is it? The 80s have a lot to offer. You know, everyone thinks it's campy, and, you know, I don't find any of... I mean, there's campy elements too, don't get me wrong, but I find the methodology of storytelling in the 80s and all that stuff, I don't find it very corny at all. In fact, I find it just pragmatic. You know who the villain is right away in the 80s. It's always the guy in the cardigan. You know, it's like every ski movie had a guy that didn't want those dirty snowboarders on their mountain. So he always had a cardigan, and, like, you know, you knew right away. It's concise storytelling. we're getting somewhere today. This character, I wish all the characters were this quick. I guess just really an eyeball I'm playing with them. We'll check it out. Oh man, I hope everyone's seen Breakfast Club. It's a classic. About teen angst. Alright, so we're gonna just in between that and stagger the end. I'll show you what I do with the characters who get hit. We kind of change their colors a little bit to indicate that you hit them and did damage. Yeah, the Breakfast Club is great. It's like it's on like stuff like TBS all the time too. I feel like you could probably find it like any given week. Not just your work, but your words for everyone. The chat inspired me to. Oh well, that's really nice to hear. Painting worlds, because I like the idea of having this small community here, and everyone's just been so. I love how everyone shares their work. I love how I do feel. Every Friday, I get up every Friday, and I feel inspired to just want to work on this stuff, and so the feeling's mutual. And no, I'm telling you, I've never felt so welcome to a community as much as the indie game dev community. And I've been working in animation for a while, and I've been to festivals, and they're kind of a snobby affair that I don't really jive with too much. But everything about the indie community, I don't know, and including the fans, they seem to understand that these things take time. They're very welcoming, and it's just this nice little cross section of people you get to meet, and everyone's working hard and around the clock. And it's funny, not knowing anything about it prior, you get to know these people, and then you'll be at the same festival as them, or not festival, what are they called? Had a few too many beers. Are they festivals? What?
Okay, well, like you're talking about like too many games?
Yeah, like what is it? Conventions. That's the word. No, you get to meet them, and you stay close with them, and then you start following their projects, and their projects inspire your projects. And we were asked, our friend, this guy, he'll have to forgive me, I forget the name of his game, but Quincy's game, what's his game called?
No, I just know Pringle, like that's his Twitter.
Yeah, but he asked if he could put Becky in one of his, like, in a section of his game, and I was just like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, okay.
What's it?
No, his game,
What is the game called? That's an incredible game. Okay, so then,
is it other RPG?
is that what it's called?
Yes.
I should send that link, because it's such a cool concept, his game, and it's executed so nice. It's an RPG, but when you get attacked, you're like kind of fighting in real time as a sort of a side scroller platformer. So it's kind of melding two games together. And I think the people who don't like RPGs because it's kind of turn-based will enjoy this, and people who like RPGs but don't like platformers will enjoy it for that element too. I can see that doing really well. Plus the pixel art is fantastic.
Yeah, it's called Other RPG.
Other RPG. Everyone should check that out. And do you have his Twitter handle?
I put the tweet of the.
Oh, okay.
gameplay up.
So I'm just gonna grab these colors.
I didn't know that, so he's putting Becky in like a little.
He said there's like a hall of heroes or something like. Well, it was his fiance that
Yes.
told that he wasn't there, but she told me about it. But she asked, I was like, yeah, absolutely, that sounds awesome. So Becky you will be able to play Blood in a game. It just might not be. Oh shoot! Hold on, might not be our game. Hold on, I'm missing a bunch of stuff. Mine is Jonesy. Hey, would you be willing to comment on this animation cycle? Yeah, send it our way.
Here.
You got it here?
Looks great.
Oh, that's fantastic. Is that done in... What is... Oh, is that just how you do the joints?
Well, it might be in a iPad.
Oh, that's an iPad? That looks fantastic. I love the secondary. That's great. Yeah, secondary and even like the tongue being the secondary. That's really nicely done. How long did that take?
Oh, we got Vinny's here.
Oh, Vinny. We did a short for Vinny. He's one of our more famous friends and clients. We got to do an elusive Nickelodeon short with him. We should show that on. We did it. I think Vinny recommended us, so we owe him a big thanks and a big support.
Did he hear that they're redoing the whole shorts program all over again?
I didn't tell him, so Vinny, they are doing that. So reach out to us. Actually, we could talk shop if you have any other pitches, because I got some information that might interest you. Okay, so this is way too quick. So we're gonna stagger these last frames. Then ease them out. Good to see you here, Vinny. Alright, so we got this hit. So there we go for that. We'll keep that at the 25 frame mark, so it's a second. What else do we have? Shoot me a text later. I missed what you said. Yeah, I'll reach out to you after it. I got some information we can send your way. I've been dying to watch it. Finally caught it. Well, you can watch for another 3 minutes. That's our that's what we. But no, we'll talk later. Oh, the memories. No, Vinny, show the do you have a link to this? I think the people would like that. Are you finding it? Where?
Nick Animated Shorts. Good luck finding
Nick Animated Shorts. Okay, so I'm gonna start the other hit, which we won't get to this one. Now this was cool, and this is the whole style is predicated on Vinny's art style, too. Which that's what I liked about the Nickelodeon shorts, was that we were always given someone else's different style, so it really kind of let us spread our wings. So we had a real we had a real fun time kind of matching the painterly look and the sepia tone and all that stuff. And for those that don't know, like, the animation process, Vinny, how long from pitch to air did that take? Or are we too embarrassed to talk about that? No, but these things, you know, we're different, where I'm going to animate this and I'll put this on Twitter tonight. But these executives hold on to this stuff for years, for Christ's sake. I didn't know that. Because
I was better off not knowing.
Yeah, I lost 4 years just reading that. But the process is so grueling. You don't know, like you don't know the half of it. Like those who deal with these bigger companies, it's insane. It's insane because how long? Once we had it finished, how long did they sit on it, Vinny?
Oh god, they sat.
Yeah, God, so
We have one that they never even aired.
Yeah, the first
very
project
first
we've
one.
ever done, actually. I'm
And
gonna
I
grab.
still think it's one of our best looking projects.
We were copying Adventure Time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some of this goo. 2 years, I think. Yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah, the Pringle stuff's great. But no, it's crazy. You think you kind of think you know everything because animation seems like a long process to begin with. No, it's just a half of it, because then it's getting it to be seen by anyone, and therein lies the rub. So I'm gonna put this over him just so we get a little debris here. So I just grabbed this from another one. It's another sprite. But what I can do, and just so it's not so symmetrical, is I'll copy those frames. And I'm just going to take 2 of these frames off here. Then reinstitute the timing like this. Then I'm going to flip it and put it on the other side, just so it's not so symmetrical. It looks a little more authentic that way. I'm going to have to recolor some of this stuff, but it's not a big deal. So we got that. Actually, I'm going to have to flip them because it's the opposite side. Alright, so that feels like a little more damaging hit. So now all I have to do is recolor this side, just so it matches the same exact color scheme we're going here.
It's funny, you're watching the Taco thing. I feel like the girl looks a lot like Vinny's daughter from the photos I've seen.
Oh yeah?
I never put 2 and 2 together.
Well, oh yeah, yeah. She kind of does from the photos I've seen. You're right. No, that was a fun project. I kind of missed those. Like,
Portal Tamersly.
are you taking off?
Thanks for
All
joining
right,
in.
thanks for joining us. We're due this next Friday too, and we'll let you know if there's another special Thursday one. Okay, we're wrapping up here, so I'm just gonna do something real quick here. So we got the damaging attack, so I'm gonna grab this one here. Just do a little animation of Becky here. See the example? Okay, close that one.
Thursday and Friday streams. I think we're probably stick to Friday streams.
We're definitely sticking Friday. Friday all the way. If we have something Thursday that's After Effects related and we can show, I would like to start doing that a little more. Hold on one second. I think that'd be a fun little treat for everyone.
It's just we don't have much.
We don't have a lot in
We don't
terms.
do it on this, on Blood at all, really.
There's no After Effects in Blood because Unity would essentially take the place of any lighting effects. Let's see, let's swap this symbol. Damage. Alright, so I have to figure out where that is. So I'm going to put her there. Little animation here. Let me open up the Becky sprite sheet.
4 years.
4 years. Can you believe it?
Yes and no.
Is this the profile one? Good enough.
I hope we can finish a game in 4 years. These guys can't even finish cartoons in 4 years.
I really think I can animate a feature in 4 years if they gave me the money. I think between us two, we could get a 90-minute cartoon done.
I don't see one.
It's kind of embarrassing. And not just kind of.
Okay. All right. So we got a little story to be told here. Now we can sit back and watch. So this guy coming around. This is all stuff we did today. The smoke's in the foreground. Tries to hit her. He hits her instead. Or she hits him instead. And then Finn. That used to be our joke. I don't have it. Finn.
We used to always make fun of every student film would always end with Finn.
So, all right. So let's recap a little bit. So we got all this stuff done. That's for Becky. We can close that. So yeah, you throw a few hours together every day, and all of a sudden we have a character that, you know, technically we could actually start programming this. It has everything we sort of need to do, with the exception of a death sequence. And that's what this sort of is. The sprite kind of modality is just you kind of just chip away at it, and all of a sudden you have this. This is the product of 3 days of work. For these Twitches, and now we have a mini boss and a mini character. So that's why I encourage everyone just to take a little bit of time out of every week to set aside and do your own thing, because you could, you know, we don't have any special powers on our end. We have 24 hours just like you guys. So keep just chipping away at stuff is my recommendation. All right, so let's see. We're running a little late here, so let's go through our promotional stuff. Bloodgame.com gets you an inside track on anything that we're gonna send before it hits the internet. You know, big news like when the demo's coming out, new art, all that stuff. You can follow us on Facebook. Twitter seems to be our best one right now. Instagram. I don't know how to spread our name on Instagram, but it's there if you look hard enough. And yeah, just keep tuning in every week, and we'll be here for you guys. This goes on YouTube too. If you have any questions or you didn't catch it, throw a comment on there. We'll answer it next week. So until then, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and thanks for tuning in. And Vinny, I'll text you shortly. All right, take care, everyone.